Hey guys, I just finished my 4th day in a row of meditating a long time before shooting this video, shooting my daily video. Today, my meditation was actually pretty intense because there's a lot of sexual energy flowing through. And when you're on the Kundalini awakening path, retaining sexual energy can be quite challenging. It can feel almost sometimes like too much. And I remember my first session with Craig Holiday, however many years ago. I told him it felt like I had like electric fire ants crawling through my body, because I told him I was experimenting with semen retention, retaining my sexual energy, and celibacy, and this kind of thing. And I told him, he was like, "And you probably feel like you're about to explode, don't you?" I was like, "Yeah, that's exactly how I feel." And years ago, he told me, "Well, intuitively, I feel like it's probably best for you to just let this energy flow through and release it when necessary." He's like, "You already have all the energy." He's like, "Monks will sit in monasteries and they'll they'll try to generate all of this energy through celibacy, through the accumulation of sexual energy." But he's like, "You already have all the energy you need." And he's like, and then he made sure to tell me, and I'm not saying to go all the other way either, but he's like, for him, when he was speaking to me, he was saying intuitively he felt more of a balance would serve me when it came to working with sexual energy. And the sexual energy, when we start, accumulating it, when we start retaining it, it can be rocket fuel for the Kundalini. And so you might feel just overwhelmed with energy. You might already feel overwhelmed with energy before even considering retaining sexual energy, and you might just be like, "What the hell are you doing, Matthew? Like, there's no way I'm gonna retain my sexual energy. It would be impossible." And that's exactly how I felt early on the path, when my Kundalini was more newly awakened. But now I feel, I feel more spacious, and I feel every now and then, I never set the intention, "Oh, I'm gonna retain for this many days," and I don't live like that anymore. My movement with my body is very spontaneous and organic. And I actually just trust my body, and I let it tell me what it needs. And so, it's just, very naturally, I've been allowing my sexual energy to build. And, like I said, it's going to accelerate and amplify the Kundalini process. So, for example, I've been feeling a lot more fear coming up, a lot more of this worried, frenetic type of energy. I've been feeling subconscious wounds that were latent in my body coming up more fully for me to see, like these sabotaging type of thoughts, these unworthiness type of thoughts, a lot of shame, especially because there's so much shame tied up in our sexuality in this culture. So we all, I think, really have some of that type of unconsciousness that's entangled with our sexual energy. So when we really start allowing our sexual energy to build and to move through the body, we might start noticing a lot of shame for even having a lot of sexual energy. And I think that's why a lot of people are prone to just getting rid of it as soon as they start feeling a lot of it, because, oh my gosh, it's just too much. I don't know what to do with all this energy, or they might label it as wrong or bad. And I just got to get rid of it. And I've been noticing since I've been more rooted in prayer and long meditation that I'm living a life, I don't know how to even say it, I guess a more pure life. A life where I'm creating much less karma. A life where I just have this single-minded focus towards God. Where I'm not looking for God in objects or people or in the world or really in anything outside of me. Where I'm just turning my mind's awareness and focus around and I'm placing it inward. And so what I'm saying this because I think with this shift that's occurring within me, it's becoming more natural for me to live from, you could say, a higher chakra center. And so this sexual energy, when it comes up, it's not something that I feel like the need to act on in a sexual way, in a sense of like just releasing it or having an orgasm. It's just like, whoa, there's more energy here. And I found myself in today's meditation utilizing this sexual energy to be with deeper wounds, utilizing it to allow it to show me where I'm still identified with beliefs rooted in shame and unworthiness, and it was like showing me all these kind of sabotaging patterns I have within me. So I've really, in a deep way, have been letting go of trying to chase pleasure. And I've just kind of come into this more renunciate lifestyle, just all on its own. It wasn't planned or anything. You know, I have lived a very, you can watch any of my videos, I've lived a very tantric life. And it's been like a very perfect path for me. Just experiencing out all of my desires in a sense. And drinking the poison, like experiencing out all of my desires with lots of consciousness. And in that sense, drinking the poison of some of my quote unquote lower desires. It's like when you experience out your lower desires in a tantric way, meaning very consciously, that points to the fact that you're drinking the poison, you're experiencing the poison of the lower desires that are out of alignment for you, right? And in this way, it's almost like you know it in your bones. Like we can all mentally know what's good for us, what's not good for us. But to actually experience something out in a tantric way, it's like you come to know that pathway in your bones, and you can't even go that way anymore because you're like, oh, I'm so sick from that poison. Like the poison, when you experience something out, like a desire, you know, like a desire that's like I'm trying to find something outside of myself to fulfill me. I know it's in this person, this woman, this man, this success, this validation. When you actually go that way and you go wholeheartedly with all of your consciousness, that poison within that experience, the poison of trying to find something outside of yourself to fulfill you, is the medicine. It's like medicine. It leads you back to yourself, but you get even more rooted deeper in yourself because now you know in your bones, like, oh, that's not God. That's not going to fulfill me. That whatever, the gambling, the drug, the cigarettes. I remember I came back to cigarettes a couple times, but I just really, I love the fuck out of that cigarette. And I just consciously experienced being with that cigarette, right? Without any judgment. And that's the tantric path. And I let myself get every drop of whatever there was left for me in a cigarette. And I remember I did the same with caffeine many years ago. And in that way, I also got to feel the other side of those substances for me and my body. I'm not making a judgment about those substances. Maybe they're perfect for you. I'm just talking from my direct experience. And so in this way, and I've also had this with obviously with sex, like experiencing out the sexual desire. And I think that's why now when the sexual energies come up, let me move this off the screen. I'm a lot more free to just let this sexual energy be here without it carrying me off into I've got to, go act on this, pursue sex, or I've got to release it right away. It's just like through the tantric path, I feel like I've just experienced out so many desires that I'm naturally in this place where I only desire God now. I genuinely feel the highest excitement for me right now is the longing for God. It is just turning my awareness and my energies towards God. And yeah, if something big comes up, like, oh, I need to go have this experience with either this person or in this place or doing this thing, of course I'm going to follow it, because I know that that's a really quick path for me. Like one person said, we do something so we no longer desire to do it. It's like, we know our wholeness isn't going to come from that experience, but also there's this karmic energy, there's this life force energy that really just needs to experience it out. And in that way, it's like, it's a really quick path to God sometimes. And what I'm saying all this because it's like naturally the tantric path has just naturally led me to this more renunciate life, where if you looked at my life and just observed it, you would say, wow, that boy's kind of a monk. He's like a sadhu or something. All he does is meditate and pray and meet with people and help in any way he can to bring them closer to God. I mean, that's really what my life is now. It's just like meditation, prayer, doing this work, reading really good books. Of course, I have breaks. I watch silly YouTube videos, comedies. I watch people play poker. I'm a human. I eat silly food here and there. I had a donut yesterday. I mean, I'm not saying that like I'm this perfect, embodied, divine being. I mean, of course, we all are that in a deeper sense. There's still like humanity here, and there's flaws. But I'm noticing that I'm not chasing things outside of me as much, because I've grown tired of that path. I've drank all that poison, all that medicine from chasing women, success. I mean, all the things there is to chase, I've chased them all. In my 20s, it was chasing other things, mostly just alcohol, drugs, just mostly marijuana. And marijuana can also be medicinal too, so I don't even want to group that in with negativity in any sense. I don't want to say any of this is negative. It all leads to God if we're conscious while we're chasing, like consciously chasing. So yeah, it's just kind of where I'm at. I've like chased so much consciously that I've experienced that, like, oh, that's not God. I know how that story ends now. It's just like there's nothing there. It's like, oh, it's not fulfilling. The only thing that's going to fulfill me is God. And that's where we end up. It's where all of us eventually end up. What's that? Sri Ananda Maya Ma says something like, joys and sorrows are all time-bound. They're all fleeting. It's like, don't settle for fragmentary happiness. Because through an interruption or shock by fate, those things can be taken from us, those fragmentary happiness states. It's like, long for the eternal. Put your energy and your focus towards the eternal, the thing that's real. None of this is real, this Maya, this illusion. It's just coming and going, and it's so fleeting. It's not a sustainable way to find joy, to find true joy and satisfaction. Only the infinite can give you that. Only knowing yourself fully can give you that. And that's what the tantric path leads to. You just go through Maya and you're like, what the fuck? You're drinking all the poison of chasing all the pleasures of Maya. And it just leads you to this place where you're like, oh my God. You just feel more drained than before. You feel empty. You feel, nauseous and like, oh, I just drank all this poison. And it just helps you actually redirect your attention towards the truth, towards God. And in a way, you were burning through those desires because you knew something in you was just going through them, because you knew you were going towards God the whole time. All right, that feels complete. Sending you all so much love. If you'd like to support this work with a financial contribution, there are donation links in the description box. There's also links to book a session with me, or to sign up for the Patreon community, where there is exclusive content and a one-on-one mentorship that I'm offering, which takes place via messaging. Might be good for some of you who really want someone to hold your hand while you walk this path. Yeah. All right. May peace be with you all. Namaste.